Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. So glad that you joined me today. We are going to be looking at who Jesus is this week. Have you ever thought about that? Now, I'm sure there's things that come to mind right away. Maybe think about things that he did. Maybe think about his relation to the Father. Maybe think about who he is in your life. But we're going to look into the Word of God and see who he said that he was when he was here walking on earth. Now, before we get into that, I have a question for you. Who are you? You know, if I asked you that question, if we were standing face to face right now, what would you say? Maybe you'd say, I am, and you'd say your name, like I am Sarah. Maybe you'd say your relationship to others. I am a daughter. I am a wife or a husband. I'm a parent. I am a sibling. Maybe you think about your career. I am a pastor. I am a teacher. I am an engineer. I am a lawyer. Maybe you think about characteristics of yourself. I am powerful. I am strong. I am wise. I'm creative. I'm indecisive. I mean, maybe you'd think of something like that, but who are you? Well, did you know that in the Bible, particularly in the book of John, Jesus described himself with various I am statements. Now, this wasn't something new. We go all the way back to the Old Testament and we see that God revealed himself to Moses with an I am who I am. And those words are so powerful. But when we fast forward into the New Testament, Jesus also makes some I am statements. And this week, we're going to focus on those different verses in John and talk a little bit about them. So here's the one that I wanted to share with you today. In John chapter 6, verse 35, it says, "Then Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." Isn't that interesting? What did Jesus mean by that? I'm pretty sure no matter what you came up with a few minutes ago, none of you would have said, I am the bread of life, right? But that's how Jesus described himself. Well, we know that bread represents a physical hunger being sustained, right? That bread quenches our hunger. It takes care of a physical need that we have. And yet Jesus here is saying that he also takes care of a need that we have. But he's not talking about physical hunger. He's talking about spiritual hunger. If you fast forward into a later part in that very same chapter, Jesus brings some clarification in verse 51. He says again, I am the living bread that came down from heaven. He's referencing when he left the side of the Father and he came down in physical form as Jesus who lived and breathed and walked on this earth. He said, whoever eats this bread, again, he's referring to himself, will live forever. The bread is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. Jesus is talking about how when we put our faith in him, he fills and sustains that hunger inside of us for spiritual things. We no longer have to look anywhere else, but we actually find life in Jesus. It's pretty incredible that he used something that the people of that day would understand as physical hunger to explain the spiritual hunger that we each experience, and also to teach us that he is the only one who can fill that void in our life. Hey, think about how Jesus has changed your life. Think about how having a relationship with him has turned life into something that's just temporary, into something that you recognize as eternal. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for another daily dose for spiritual growth.